Are you a plus size lady in a relationship, but things aren't working out as you wish they were, and you think it has something to do with your size? Or are you just a beautiful plus size lady who's ready to enter into a relationship? Either way, here are some of the mistakes I believe that we plus size women tend to do when we fall in love. Now, some of these aren't exclusive just to plus size women, but to women in general. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get into it, shall we? Now, the first mistake that I think that a few of us plus size women do when we're falling in love is to settle for less than what we deserve. Because society is telling us that the smaller you are, the better you are, then we think we're less than. So we don't really go after what we want sometimes, but we settle for what we think society says that we deserve. And to me, that is never going to work. It's not going to work because it's not what you really want. Now, you might be lucky and this person turns out to be absolutely wonderful, and I wish that for you. But the chances are that it's not going to work because he is not what you want. Why settle? Everybody else has the right to choose who they want. Everybody has the right to want what they want. You have that right too. Now, you have to be aware, though, that what you want might not be readily available. What you want might be harder to find. What you want, you might not find straight away. But for me, I personally would rather be on my own than to settle for something that is not really what I want. Now, I personally am not one to follow the rules or to follow what society says. If I were, I wouldn't have red hair and I wouldn't have tattoos, because apparently those are no-nos. So I've always been one to march to the beat of my own drum. And I personally wouldn't settle for someone just because I think I'm less than, or because I think that society says that's what I deserve and that I have no right to desire and want more. That wouldn't work for me. Does it work for you? Now, another thing I think a lot of us do as plus size women, when we're interested in someone, when we're falling in love with someone, and that is to hide our bodies. We hide our bodies under baggy tops and baggy trousers and baggy dresses. We don't want that person to see what we actually look like. We don't want to make them see our lumps and our bumps and our curves. We want to hide everything. Now, I'm not saying that you should go out in Daisy Duke shorts and a crop top. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying you don't have to hide yourself away. If they're interested in you, they can see that you're a larger lady. They imagine, I'm sure, that you have lumps and bumps somewhere. Don't be ashamed of who you are. Embrace who you are. Enjoy who you are. Now, if you feel as if your weight and your size is really holding you back and is keeping you from being happy, then then maybe it's time to actually get a hold of it and think about doing something about it. But if you're still able to do what you want to do, don't hide who you are. Embrace who you are. Love who you are. It doesn't matter what size you find yourself at. You can work on yourself. Nobody's saying that you can't work or you shouldn't work on yourself. If you want to lose the weight, go for it. But where you're at right now, if you're overweight, if you're plus size, if you're obese, love yourself anyway. Love yourself while you're working on yourself. There is nothing wrong with that. And don't listen to those people who want to make you feel as if you're less than and that you should hide away because you don't have the body that society says that you should have. Go do your thing. Love yourself. And stop hiding under those baggy clothes. You're not fooling nobody. We see you. Now, a lot of plus size women, a mistake I think, is that they avoid dating altogether. Now, I'm a bit on the fence in the sense that if you're not happy with yourself right now, then yeah, maybe you shouldn't date. Maybe you should work on yourself first before you start looking for that special person. But there is no reason why you shouldn't be loved. There is no reason why somebody wouldn't want you. You deserve to find someone nice. You deserve to be loved. But if you're not ready right now, I get it. But don't take yourself out of the game completely, forever, because that's not fair. Love is just not for the skinny. Love is not just for the beautiful. Love is for everyone. Everyone can find love. My dad used to say, every pot has its lid. And I honestly believe that. You can find someone. It might not be easy. The pool might be a little bit smaller. Granted, that could be the case. But that doesn't mean that there isn't someone out there for you. So don't take yourself out of the game just yet, okay? Now, another mistake I think that we plus size ladies do when we're looking for love or falling in love is that we look for someone to love us. And that way, if we can find someone to love us, then that is proof that we're valid. Ooh. Relying on someone to build up our self-esteem, that's no good. It's not healthy. We shouldn't have to have someone else to make us feel good about ourselves. That is something that should come from within. We should feel good about ourselves anyway. We should love ourselves anyway, regardless of what we look like and regardless of our size. Seeking validation through a relationship really is not the way to go. It really is unhealthy. We need to work on ourselves first, build up our self-esteem, build up our confidence, and not expect somebody else to build it for us. Now this one, unfortunately, I have seen too many times, and that is that a lot of us plus size ladies, we stay in toxic relationships because we think we can't find better. We know it's toxic. We know that person isn't good for us, but the fear of being alone, the fear that better is not out there for you, makes you stay with someone who maybe is disrespectful, abusive, who treats you badly, who lies to you, who manipulates you. You will accept all of those things just because you can't find better. Well, who told you that you can't find better? Society, some random people who you've never met? Even being on your own is better than being with someone who isn't treating you right and is making you feel unhappy. So yeah, let go of that toxic relationship. And it's a lot better than being with someone who is actively not treating you the way you deserve. Now this is one that is not just for the plus size lady, it's for women in general. That is ignoring the red flags because you want to be in a relationship. Sometimes the red flags are there in the wind, they're blowing, we see them, but we just ignore them because again, we don't think we deserve better. And it's sad. It hurts my heart. It saddens me when people put up with certain things and ignore certain things because they feel they can't do better, when I know that they can. Trust your instincts. Listen to that voice in your head. Listen to your gut when it tells you that this person is not for you. There's something not quite right. You can listen, you can do that, and you have a right to walk away. So don't ignore those red flags just because you're afraid of being alone. Now this one I've seen quite a few times too, and that is that sometimes we plus size women, we change our whole character, our whole personality to fit a narrative so that we can be with a person. There's this thing that an overweight woman has to be jolly at all times. Who said that? Because you have a right to be annoyed. You have a right to have a bad day. You have a right to say no. You have a right to be whatever you want to be. You don't have to pretend to be happy, to try to shield and hide your weight, so that if you're happy, at least you're giving something positive and they won't stay focused on your size, which you think is the negative. Don't do that. Don't do that, because it's exhausting. And how long can you keep that up? How long can you pretend to be happy for? You're the jolly one, and okay, whatever he says, okay, whatever you want, all right, that's fine by me. I couldn't do that. I don't care. I could be as big as this room. I don't care. If I'm in a bad mood, you're going to know about it. If you ask me to do something and I don't want to, the answer is going to be no, I ain't doing that. So you know what? Be yourself. Be your authentic you. Let the person see you for who you are, because you're valid and you don't have to pretend to be anybody else but you. Now this one too, I think that a lot of us do, and that is to put our partner on a pedestal. And we put him on a pedestal because it's almost as if we are so grateful that we found someone who is willing to be with us. I get it. Although I've always come from a different angle. I've always thought that the person who's with me should be damn happy and glad that I gave him the time of day, not the other way round. I've always felt that, and I want that for you too. Not that you feel that you are better than anybody else, but you feel that you are just as good as everybody else. So you don't have to put him on a pedestal. He's not doing you no favors by being with you. He's lucky that he's found you. So yes, we have to be careful with this pedestal thing. Now this one is very similar to the points before, and that is sometimes we tolerate certain things that we shouldn't, like disrespect. If he's making little comments about your body, putting you down, making you feel less than, making you feel uncomfortable, embarrassing you about your body, shaming you about your size, disrespectful things like that. If he's doing that, don't put up with it. You don't have to put up with that. You really don't. Again, he's not doing you no favors. If he doesn't like the way you look, then maybe he needs to go and find someone that looks more like what he thinks he deserves. But you don't have to put up with any disrespect like that. You don't have to put up with somebody shaming you about the way you look, because it's not going to help you. Because psychologically and mentally, it's a hindrance. It's just making you feel worse about yourself. So no, if someone is disrespecting you, don't put up with it. Now, for a lot of plus-size women, the relationship is one thing. They could even go with that and accept that. But it's the intimacy thing that can be a problem. We don't really necessarily want to have to go through all of that and just to getting undressed and to go through. Sometimes it can just feel like it's more than what it's actually worth. And you don't want to be rejected. You fear that he might take a look at you naked in the bedroom and say, and run. Oh, we don't know, and we don't want to have to go through all of that embarrassment. We don't want to go through all that shame. It just seems like it's too much like hard work, more than what it's worth. And so we just don't want to put ourselves through all of that. And I get it. I do. I honestly do. And if you're not ready, then no one is forcing you. And if you're not ready, you don't have to. And you shouldn't have to. But don't scrap it altogether. Don't do away with it altogether. Again, work on yourself, work on your self-esteem, work on your confidence, work on your weight if need be, if that's what's holding you back. But you deserve to be happy. Now, if you don't want to have intimacy, that's fine. You don't need to, you don't have to. No one should have to force you to. But if it's something that you want, that you would want again, then just work on yourself first and you'll get there. But don't be embarrassed. And I'm saying it smiling because I get it. I've been there. I know what it's like. But you know what? We deserve to be happy too. We deserve to be loved too. And why not? Just because somebody wants you doesn't mean that you have to want them. And sometimes we feel just because it seems so rare that somebody wants us, it seems so impossible sometimes that somebody wants us, that when somebody comes along and pays us the smallest bit of attention, we're all in. We're in a relationship without even really verifying who this person is, what they are and what they're about. We can say no too. It's not just the beautiful skinny girls that can say no. Anybody can say no. So if it's not what you want, don't be afraid to say no. And don't just jump into a relationship just because he asked you. If it's not what you want, you don't have to be afraid to say no. Listen, no. See how easy that was? Again, this is one that can be for ladies in general, but oftentimes a lot of us plus size ladies, we settle for breadcrumbs. We are just so used to maybe not having somebody want us that when there is someone who's with us, any little crumb that they throw us, we accept. And that's not good enough. The minimum of effort that this person puts into the relationship, they don't even have to try, and we go along with it. Why would we accept that? Why would we accept to have less? I think that we all deserve to be a priority. I think we all deserve to be respected and to be treated as if we were human beings. How about that? So you don't have to settle for breadcrumbs. Ask for the whole banquet. Ask for appetizers, the main course, the second course, dessert. You deserve to have it all. Why not? Send back those breadcrumbs. Let him have it. And finally, I would say that sometimes as a plus size woman, we will compare ourselves with others. We will go on Facebook and Instagram and see the other girls that he's been with or the other girls that he's been around. And if they're pretty, if they're thin, we will sit there and think, oh my goodness. And then why is he with me? And you start questioning it and say, don't do that. Don't compare yourself with anybody else. You can't, because you're unique, right? You're you. How can you compare yourself? How can you compare your wonderful, fabulous self to somebody else? You can't. Doesn't matter who he was with in the past. He's with you now. And if he's treating you well, if he's respectful, if he's honest, if he's a decent guy, then what do you care if before he used to date skinny girls? That's got nothing to do with you. That's not your business. So just accept him for where he's at now. And where he's at now is with you. So enjoy it. So if you want to see more videos about red flags or living as a plus size woman, check out these videos.